Be well hydrated tonight. And the wind may not be as big a factor as it often is at Canada Stadium. There's John Hufnagel, his team looking for their third consecutive win. Calgary hasn't been 4-1 since 2000, while Doug Barrie made his most dramatic move earlier in the week, looking for that elusive first win. He does remind everybody there's still just 2 games out of first in the East.
They are, and that's the good news. And he has rattled the cage here in Winnipeg and made a change at quarterback. Well documented this week, but we will see Ryan Dinwiddie in his second start in Canadian football. But first things first, the Winnipeg defense will be up first against a powerful Calgary offense.
Here we go. Alexis Cerna kicking it off, and it's a squib that'll bounce down to Winnipeg native Marcus Howell. Grew up cheering for the Bombers, played for Winnipeg, and now for Calgary, returns to the 41-yard line. And Henry Burris brings a 5-1 record as a Calgary quarterback onto the field against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and he's been terrific in the early going.
And he has Joffrey Reynolds behind him at 6.3 per carry. That team is second in the league, averaging 151.5 yards rushing per game. Tremendous receiving corps. Big game for Nick Lewis last week and Kenyon Rambo. And when you look at that offensive line, too, the youngsters playing very well around the veteran Rob Lazio at center.
There we go. Quick hitter to the outside, and that ball is fumbled. And who's on it? Bombers may have it. Javon Johnson. This is a play that may be challenged, but it's exactly what the Bombers need if it stands.
Boy, do they ever need a couple of big plays out of the gate, and if this stands, this would be one of them. Javon Johnson breaks on this. Looks like a very innocent little outplay. Little quick throw from Henry Burris to the left side of the formation. And let's see if that ball comes out. And does he have possession of the ball before it's stripped, or will it be ruled incomplete? I don't see a challenge flag yet from John Hufnagel.
Kenyon Rambo fumbled twice in the season opener. The victim again, and I really am surprised there is no challenge flag. I'm not saying it shouldn't stand, but I'm surprised Calgary did not challenge Dinwiddie to work, and he throws into traffic to Kerry Johnson in double coverage, and Johnson comes up with it.
You know, it's a good point, Chris, because that looks very similar to the Saskatchewan game in West Cates, and that catch to the outside that was challenged and, in fact, overturned. It's the outside guy in the play. Watch how he runs that bang route to the outside. Now, it looks like he's got possession. I think that is a fumble, and that's why John Hufnagel did not challenge. He saw it firsthand.
Huge break for the Bombers. And now look at 2nd and 4 after the completion to Johnson, and a little stutter step from Charles Roberts. And he's down to the 33. He'll be within a yard of the first down.
It is Ryan Dinwiddie in his second start. His first, as everyone knows by now, was the Grey Cup Championship a year ago. Game he didn't play terrible, made some mistakes, and he'll have to eliminate those tonight. And his receiving corps has not changed throughout the season. Romby Bryant making a name for himself at that slot back spot. And Matt O'Meara comes in for Kyle Koch at guard. And some injuries on the offensive line have been a bit of an issue this year for Winnipeg.
3rd and a yard and a half. So Cerna comes in to attempt a 40-yarder. Trying to get the Bombers on the board quickly. And Cerna has missed. And Marcus Howell will bring it out. He elects not to, forced out by Neil McKinley. It's a single point, so just one off the opening turnover by Calgary. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, the Canadian how-to people. Well, getting one after a turnover like that is sort of like getting a pair of socks for Christmas. Not very exciting.
Not really. Not what the Bombers wanted to do, to take advantage of an early turnover. They didn't.
Well, Calgary back to work to reboot their offense from the 35. Fake to Reynolds, and Burris looks for Copeland, who stretched out. Couldn't bring it in. Anthony Malbrough in coverage.
Clearly the challenge in this game is for the Bombers on defense, because they're up against a powerful Calgary offense so far this year, and they've got some changes on that defense. Not in their front four, which remains intact, led by Doug Brown in the middle. A Linebacking core, however, has a difference. Joe Lobendaw is in the middle for Baron Simpson, who is gone for some time. And Willie Amos will start on the corner again in his second straight game.
2nd and 10 for Burris and company. Long throw to the wide side. Kenyon Rambo is taken down quickly by Kelly Malvo. And the defense fired up. They've forced a turnover, and now a 2 and out in the opening 2 Calgary possessions.
Kelly Malvo is just to the right of your screen. He gets a great break out of the secondary to come up and make a sure tackle. Kelly Malvo does not have an interception this year. In fact, their secondary is searching for a couple. They've got a couple from Javon Johnson, but he does a solid tackler in the open field.
Malvo, the former Stampeder. Burke Dales kicks it downfield. Here's Javon Johnson with the return. And he finds his way up to the 30-yard line. And Ryan Dinwiddie will go back to work. The guy who had the unprecedented task of making his CFL debut in the Grey Cup game last year.
Yeah, and we've been trying to think of if that has ever happened. Certainly it hasn't to any other quarterback in football, and maybe the only comparison you could make is, has there ever been a goalie in the National Hockey League to start in his first ever game in Game 7
of the Stanley Cup? I don't know. I don't think... Well, he does have impressive NCAA credentials, and he'll go back to work here. First man through is the fullback, Graham Bell. Not much there. Well, it's certainly been a much talked about decision, and Doug Barry wanted to make it clear that it wasn't just a comment about Kevin Glenn's play.
I'm one of Kevin Glenn's biggest supporters. I probably am his biggest supporter, and if he ever go back into a game, I will have total confidence in him. This is a message to the team: elevate your game.
And based on our conversations with the Bombers, they've heard the message. Let's see if it translates. 2nd and long, and Dinwiddie throws over the middle. Terrence Edwards has a first down catch at the 44.
Nice throw and catch, and that puts a smile on the youngster's face because he needs some confidence, and a catch like that will give him confidence. And Terrence Edwards comes back to the football. And this is the one thing that I think Ryan Dinwiddie is going to do that Kevin Glenn couldn't do, and that's just to be able to move around in the pocket a little bit more. He can run a little bit better than Kevin Glenn, and he can use that to keep the defense off balance. You saw how he bought some time by shuffling the pocket.
13 on the pickup to Edwards. Roberts trying to test the heart of that Calgary defensive line that's actually bulked up on the front 4 for this game.
And some changes up there because Michael Abinjo is gone from the defensive line for this game, and they move Hodges to the outside, and Marcus Parker will come in and play the inside. There's Labinjo there. He has got to play the middle linebacker spot for this one. He's been very versatile for this defense throughout the year after 4 weeks. Brandon Browner is in a nice matchup. We're going to watch this one a lot tonight. Brandon Browner against Derek Armstrong.
4th different middle linebacker for the Stamp. Juwan Armour should be back next week out with a groin injury. 2nd down, looking downfield, and it's a catch. And a big one by Romby Bryant, who was the most dangerous Bomber receiver a week ago in BC.
Nice play call here to get Romby Bryant open because he's going to be the corner route in behind with 2 receivers, Gary Johnson and Derek Armstrong, trying to draw the coverage up in the short flat to the right of your screen. But look at the throw from Dinwiddie. He gets confidence in the first throw out to Terrence Edwards, who comes back and makes a nice catch. That one right over the top of the shoulder right there of Romby Bryant, who hangs on. Good start for Dinwiddie.
Absolutely. Bryant had 5 catches last week, 146 yards. Charles Roberts, 2nd man through, flag down. And again, Roberts, for the most part, contained maybe a yard or 2. Mike Labinjo on the stop, and will Charles Roberts be able to break loose? Doug Barry has talked about the fact that they can't continue to dine out on 3-yard runs.
Well, they like to see him obviously get into space, and there's 3 things that affect the running game. One is how you're calling the plays and what plays are available.
Illegal procedure, illegal formation. Winnipeg number 60. He hasn't checked in. The penalties decline. Second down.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 for Dinwiddie. One is the coaching and how you call the plays, what plays you have. One is your offensive line. That's been banged up for the Bombers. And then one is your running back. But you can see the difference between last year running the football and this year for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Just night and day difference. Especially that rush per game. 86.2 for Roberts. 40.3 this year.
You know, the most dramatic thing Doug Barry could do was make this quarterbacking change. The next most dramatic thing is looking at a guy like Charles Roberts, because they haven't been able to run the football, and it's hard to fathom with a guy that's approaching 10,000 yards.
Those play selections, that's that first category I mentioned. That's coaching. And then you're at about 75-25. You want to balance it closer to 60-40.
So 4 rushes, 3 passes so far. Different play calling, 2nd and 10, and that pass for Kerry Johnson is incomplete, and the Bombers drive stalls in field goal range.
The one thing, as you mentioned earlier and in the pregame show, Chris, that Ryan Dinwiddie wants to protect against, and I think he did it on that play on 2nd and 10 when he threw it out of bounds, was the turnovers. I mean, you mentioned earlier that Doug Barry has said to him, you played pretty well in the Grey Cup, but turn the ball over. You played well against BC, but turn the ball over. Those are the things that he has to avoid, and I think he threw that out of bounds. There was not a receiver close.
So Cerna has missed from 40. Now will attempt from 39. Regina Stoddard the holders, Fedkovic the snap, and this time he adjusts it and misses the other way, and that hurts. Couple of missed opportunities and missed field goals, and it's just a 2-0 Bomber lead. Well, 2-0 Winnipeg, and 2 single points that really hurt. And Doug Barry's in the year of Alexis Cerna early. Some of the unfaithful have shown up tonight here in Winnipeg. Joffrey Reynolds goes to work on the ground, and Reynolds up to the 40-yard line, the leading rusher in the CFL. 5 yards on that carry.
Heard Matt Dunnigan in the pregame show rave about Joffrey Reynolds and his efforts this year and how he's played this year. And I talked to John Hufnagel about him, and there was one great story that came out of our conversation, which was in training camp for 5 days of 2 days. Hufnagel said to me that Reynolds and Cornish were the only backs that were healthy in camp, went through every single practice and rep, the two of them, and never complained once. Hufnagel said as soon as Reynolds did that, I knew he was a great one.
2nd and 4, quick hitter Nick Lewis, who had such a huge game against Hamilton, has a first down catch in the initial first down for the Stampeders at the 51.
And that's a good point by John Hufnagel too. When you get in 2 days and you're the star running back, it's very easy to go, look, I'm not taking every single rep and spending all that energy. Hufnagel said, when I knew he did that without complaining, I had one of the best players, all-around players in the league in my tailback spot.
Peters go to work. Little roll by Burris, and looks for Rambo. And that's incomplete. Tight coverage there by Willie Amos.
It's a positive thing for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to take a look at their secondary right now and see them playing aggressively in this first quarter against a very good receiving core the Calgary Stampeders possess. I mean, so far, everything the Calgary Stampeders have got or just missed, like that play, you've seen a Bomber defender real close.
Third time Burris has gone in the direction of Kenyon Rambo, who comes into this game second in CFL receiving. 2nd and 10 for the Stamps, who converted almost 50% of their second downs this season. Chris Jackson to catch, but he's not going to get to the first down stick. Javon Johnson is there in the corners, playing well for Winnipeg early. 7 for Chris Jackson, and it will be another third down for Calgary.
Well, the Bombers go with Ike Charlton coming off the edge to force a quicker throw from Burris, which he gets. It gets Jackson out on the sideline, but Bombers will allow on 2nd and long. Every defense will allow an offense to throw it for 3 or 4 yards and then just come up and make the tackle.
Javon Johnson has dropped deep. Burke Dale's Kicking it downfield. And this one will bounce out at the 7. Terrific kick by Burke Dales, 44 yards into the corner.
Giving the 2008 GMC Sierra more power doesn't make it professional grade. Giving it 315 horsepower while making it the most fuel-efficient 4x4 full-size pickup does. The 2008 GMC Sierra. We gave it more power. We made it more fuel efficient. We examined everything and overlooked nothing. Then backed it with the best coverage in Canada. That's professional grade.
Hi, I'm Shelley.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Hi. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 37.
Ooh, that's too bad. I'm actually looking for someone a little younger. Well, actually a lot younger, but...
You can do that on Autotrader.ca, where the year of the car is now up to you. AutoTrader. Come meet your match.
On the starting lineups were introduced. The largest ovation at Canadian Stadium was for Abi Khan, making his first appearance. And what a comeback story it is here in 2008 with more. Sean Churchill.
Yes, Chris, it has been a long haul for Abi Khan. He's the first professional athlete to return to the field after having his entire large intestine removed. That was as a result of his battle with colitis. Earlier this week, I asked him whether or not this was a year to forget, because he had 5 surgeries and his father had passed away while he was in the next room because of cancer. He says, no, it's not a year to forget. In fact, it's a year to remember, because he grew so much emotionally, physically, and mentally. He also added that he couldn't wait to get back on the field and bang a few heads. Guys?
Last year, he played at 305 pounds, was down to 205 about 6 months ago. Bulking up, not in the starting lineup, but he will see action as a tight end. There's a big play by Dinwiddie to get it out of trouble, and Robbie Bryant has pulled down another catch. Bryant 4th in the league in receiving. There is a penalty marker on the play, and this one is coming back.
It's coming back. Bryant's the inside receiver. We'll show you his catch, because it was a nice one for him to go up and time his jump, but it looks like it will come back. You know, Abi Khan's story has been just...
Offside. Winnipeg, number 83. Half the distance to the goal. First down repeat.
Derek Armstrong was offside.
But you saw him when Abi Khan came out, and in the introductions, you know this is inspiring his teammates, and they've played that way in this first quarter. I've seen them already make some big plays. That was a big catch, even though it's coming back. A football team is like a family, and when a family member is down, everybody's involved and everybody's trying to get him back, and this will be inspirational to them.
1st and 13 now. That ball thrown out of bounds. Bryant hit the deck, and the Bombers looking for a flag that's not thrown. Just a final thought on Abi Khan. He's about a month ahead of schedule. They just wanted him to get a few hits in this game in short yardage situations, but they really need him back in the middle of that offensive line.
Well, do they ever? I mean, they've lost Matt Sheridan, Dominic Picard, Kyle Koch. I mean, this is the starting group that is just getting nicked up, and Abi Khan's return will be welcomed by Doug Barrett.
2nd and 14 for the Bombers. Trying to dig themselves out of this territorial hole, and that pass is it intercepted the ball out of bounds. The penalty marker on the play, and it looks like pass interference against the Stamps.
Here's that matchup I mentioned off the top. Brandon Browner, 6'3", 210 pounds, against Derek Armstrong, 6'2", 211.
Illegal contact on the receiver. Calgary number 27. 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
And it's going to be a battle between these two very good football players. Bump and run for Browner. Inside release, and you can see the contact there. Browner just hung on to the shoulder pads a little long. Illegal contact is before the ball is thrown, the contact is made. Pass interference after. They call contact on the grab on the shoulder pads from Browner. But Browner's going to challenge Derek Armstrong. There's no height advantage with Armstrong in this matchup like he usually gets.
There's some good hand fights on that side of the field. First down and a much-needed one for the Bombers. And here is Robbie Bryant out of the backfield. Another catch and then drilled by the corner, Dwight Anderson, who steps up. But a couple of first downs to dig Winnipeg out of a hole in their own zone.
Yeah, it really does. Even if they have to punt the ball in this drive, just a couple of plays like that, and you got a chance to punt the football away, put your defense back on the field if you have to, and no harm done with the field position battle that always goes on in every football game.
So some good signs here from Ryan Dinwiddie. Still waiting for a Charles Roberts sighting of note. And Roberts takes the ball and gets to the 29, and he has 4.
Show you a little difference between Ryan Dinwiddie and Kevin Glenn. And this is not to take a shot at Kevin Glenn, but watch Dinwiddie after he gives the ball and what he does. He gives the ball here to Charles Roberts, and then Dinwiddie goes back to the right. Sooner or later in this game, the Calgary defense will have to respect Dinwiddie coming back on that bootleg with the fake. With a guy like Kevin Glenn who doesn't run the ball, you don't have to as a defense. That should open things up more for Roberts.
Roberts gets forward, 2nd and 6, empty backfield. And Dinwiddie has time to look downfield for Edwards, and that ball almost picked off, but another penalty marker in the Calgary secondary. And Dwight Anderson looks like he's been shaken up on the play.
It looked like he landed awkwardly as he went up for that football and had actually the better chance at it. See what this call is.
And I can hear Winnipeg fans already saying,
illegal contact on the receiver. Calgary number 19, 10-yard penalty. First down.
Calvin Bannister, they're saying, where was this call last week?
Yeah, we debated that, Jock Climby and I, the Corey Banks non-call in the end zone on R.J. Franklin. Down at the bottom of your screen here, illegal contact again before the ball is in the air. And you can't reach around and grab the shoulder pad, although that was minimal.
Back inside the 5 to start. They're now up to the 39. And this one is caught by Kerry Johnson. Drilled out of bounds, but another Winnipeg first down at the Bomber 52. And Ryan Dinwiddie's got them moving early.
Well, remember that this drive started with a penalty that put them second in a bunch down on their own 2-yard line is where this drive started. I like his composure. He went down the field, which was covered, and this time didn't try and force the football into coverage. He waited, went to his checkoff guy on the outside and Kerry Johnson. So far, Dinwiddie looks composed in that pocket.
3-year starter at Boise State. The all-time best pass rating efficiency in college football at 168.9. That's off the charts. They swing it out. Terrence Edwards trying to get outside. He gets by Dwight Anderson. And finally out inside the Calgary 40. And they're starting to stretch the field on this Calgary defense.
Well, and they caught Dwight Anderson kind of lazy on the outside here. Terrence Edwards just going to run the hitch pass. He comes out of there, and Edwards does a nice job right there. He comes out, do a little hitch pass. You can see how deep he is. He's not getting up in the line because he knows the play. Now watch his speed and acceleration to the outside. He catches Dwight Anderson napping on that outside, gets outside of him because Anderson's got to turn him into his help.
Edwards didn't go more than 2 games last year without a touchdown. Still looking for his first major of 2008. There's the roll by Dinwiddie. Looks like it opens up, and he'll take off. And Ryan Dinwiddie, that's a great play by the defensive end, Charleston Hughes, to limit the damage.
But see, this is the play I told you in the back in the 2-3 yard line. He faked it that time. This time, Dinwiddie's going to take this football, fake it to Charles Roberts, and then come to the outside. Now he's got the corner and can run. And this time, again, not forcing the ball, but picking up good yards. Sooner or later, Calgary's going to have to widen and then contain that, or else that'll be something Winnipeg goes back to.
There was the one play late in the Grey Cup game, final minute, when he didn't pull it down, and everybody thought he could have run for a first down. He threw the interception that ended that game. 2nd and 4. Dinwiddie steps up underneath the Franklin. He'll be close to the first down.
Well, with what Alexis Serna has done over the last 2 tries, I wonder if Doug Barry, even if it's about a yard or maybe a long yard, will try and go for it here.
Don't know if it's a long yard. We're going to get a measurement. From our angle, it appears to be less than a yard short. But you're right. Doug Barry's decision in this situation might be different, but that's close enough that I don't think it would have mattered anyway.
No, you go. But it would be interesting if it was a yard or two, whether or not he would have said, you know what, we've had 2 opportunities in our first 2 drives and come away with 2 points.
Cerna missing from 40 and 39, the only points in this first quarter. And the Bombers deserve better than a 2-0 lead.
This is quarterback sneak. Right behind Ryan Donnelly, likely for Ryan Dinwiddie.
Matt O'Meara making his first Bomber start at right guard.
How's here?
Donnelly in his first year at center. And they'll try to get the push. And Donnelly's got it.
You know when the center pops through the other side of the line of scrimmage that the quarterback has a very good chance to get there. And Donnelly fought his way. Dinwiddie, see, he just goes right underneath. Ryan Donnelly gets nice and low, and he's the guy who pops through. As everyone falls on his legs.
Yeah. Number 3 on the depth chart is the center behind Dominic Picard out with the ankle, and Abi Khan, who's working his way back in, as we discussed. Bombers are marching. 1st and 10 at the 31. Fake to Roberts, and the out is caught by Bryant. That's another first down at the Stamp 19. Robbie Bryant replacing Milt Stiegel, who is expected back next week. And you got to think Robbie Bryant's going to stay in this lineup somewhere else.
309 yards coming in. He has a touchdown. He's made some key catches already in this game for Ryan Dinwiddie. And for a young quarterback to have a receiver he trusts this early is huge for him.
3rd catch, and he had another 24-yarder taken off the board by penalty. First down, 4 receivers wide side. And Charles Roberts, like a little problem with that handoff. Roberts, another short yardage gain.
It looked like Ryan Dinwiddie, when he turned to hand that off, got a little close to Roberts. Roberts' eyes are on the line of scrimmage. He is not looking at the football at all. It's up to the quarterback to put the ball in the right place and let the running back take it.
You notice Ryan Dinwiddie has a similar injury to Anthony Calvillo. He had a splint yesterday on the pinky finger of his left hand, and he said when it hurts the most is when it gets ripped by a running back, and I couldn't help but think that was one of those plays. A little trouble with that handoff to Charles Roberts. Final play of this opening quarter, 2nd and 9. And Dinwiddie looking to the corner, incomplete. Intended for Armstrong in another one of those battles with Brandon Browner.
He wants a penalty. Brandon Browner grabbed on and said, no flag, no foul.
So the Bombers will have to settle for a field goal attempt when we come back to start the 2nd quarter. First quarter stats are brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
Well. Ryan Dinwiddie in his 2nd start has dominated the time of possession over one of the hottest quarterbacks, if not the hottest, in Henry Burris. How about that?
You look at those stats, though, and you're saying it's got to be more than 2-0, but 2 missed field goals and another field goal pending for the Bombers is all they've got to show for a great first quarter.
Yeah, and it's, that's missed opportunities, and you saw Doug Barry in that first quarter ripping his kicker because of that. But Ryan Dinwiddie in this first start, I mean, let's be honest, most of the people in this country thought that this was going to be a blowout by now. It's not. The Bombers are not only in it, but they're playing better offensively than one of the best offenses so far after 4 weeks in the league.
And for the bad timing department, Alexis Cerna's had to wait through this whole break to change ends to think about this 3rd field goal attempt. This one from 24 yards out. He'd only missed 1. Coming into week 4, he's missed 2 in the first quarter of this game and puts that one through. 5-0, but the fans here thought it could have been more, but for a non-call in the end zone again.
It was a deliberate throw behind, and it's worth another look. It's that matchup, Brandon Browner on Derek Armstrong. Armstrong was livid that he thought that he would grab The throw behind means that Armstrong is going to go down the field and then put his brakes on and come back to the ball. Watch Browner. That's okay in my books. This grab was called earlier in the game and not called on that play, and that's what Armstrong wanted. He wanted that grab call.
13-play drive. They got 2 contact and pass interference calls on the drive. Doug Brown trying to track down Joffrey Reynolds, who turned it up and then ran out of real estate. Joffrey Reynolds, the leading rusher, went over 5,000 yards in his career last week.
Well, to get that time of possession back up, Calgary Stampeders will have to go to him more. And that's how you do that. You start involving your running game, and your time of possession automatically goes up.
Reynolds gets 5, so 2nd and 5. From the Calgary 40. Quick hitter to Lewis. Tries to get outside, and he'll be stacked up and driven back.
Wow.
Bomber defense is fired up.
I'm a little surprised that Calgary Stampeders offensively haven't tried to stretch the field at all in these situations in 2nd and medium or 2nd and long. They've tried to go with these short passes, which the defense wants you to do, and then hope that their athletes will just get the first downs on their own. And so far, the Bombers have tackled well and not allowed it.
Anthony Malbrough, another former Stampeder, there to make sure Lewis didn't get to the first down stick. Greg Marshall likes the work of Willie Amos so far on the sidelines, and Brooke Gales has to kick it away. Charles Roberts back. He has the longest punt return for the Bombers this year. A stutter step, and Randy Chevrier hung in there, makes the tackle. A no yards call on the play after a 42-yard punt. Back to the Manitoba Capitol. It's been an encouraging start for the winless Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and they go back to work, starting at their 41 after the no yards call against Calgary. 6 receivers out. Ryan Dinwiddie slinking again. Robbie Bryant has it down to the Calgary 35. Dinwiddie and Bryant still rolling, and Bryant wasn't sure he was touched down. Well, marking it at the 34.
He may not have been, but it didn't matter. The whistle was blown, so the play is over, and it's a good one for Dinwiddie. This time, he takes advantage of the fact that Brandon Browner's been up on Derek Armstrong a bunch, and that opens up in behind Browner for Bryant to go down the field and down the sideline. A good throw to bring him back to the ball because the safety over the top was there in Brandon Smith in that case, and he threw it in between. Dinwiddie, a nice throw there.
His 74-yard touchdown catch last week, the longest Bomber passing play in 2 years. This one was 41 yards, and now Dinwiddie looks for Armstrong. Another hand fight with Brandon Browner, incomplete, and we'll get another fan reaction as Armstrong has words for the official.
Well, this is an absolute battle, and again, the officials, and I like this, that they are going to let the guys determine the outcome. Here, Armstrong falls on his own. There's hand fighting going on. Watch this little push there. Armstrong doesn't like that, but he pushes back. That's okay so far, and then he falls on his own as Brandon Browner turns to the inside. I think that's a good no call.
That's going to be a really intriguing matchup all night long, and if it continues, another one will be Ewan Climie in round 2. 6 receivers out on 2nd and 10, and Bryant's got it, and he'll backpedal to the 5. Robbie Bryant putting on a show. He looks like he should be wearing number 85.
Just isolating that side of the field, and a good touch on the ball there from Ryan Dinwiddie. He had an undercutting halfback in Brandon Smith. He recognizes it, and I like his eyes. His eyes went to the outside to freeze the defensive backs and allow Robbie Bryant to get in behind coverage.
146 yards last week. That's the damage in less than 20 minutes of work so far tonight. But here they are at the 5. They've settled for 3 field goal attempts. Doug Barry talked about the job of a quarterback's to get the offense into the end zone. Kevin Glenn couldn't do it. Whoa, trouble there. Now to the corner, and flags fly this time. And Derek Armstrong says it's about time.
Derek Armstrong saying, "Stop holding me." And so far, Brandon Browner's got away with the little grab. He's got away with that little tug on the jersey. A broken play. There's supposed to be play action to Charles Roberts, but Dinwiddie doesn't get the handle till late. Flags fly there. The grab came after. Here's a better look at it. There's that little tug that Brandon Brown has been doing all game long, and the second one with the left hand on the jersey, and that one's called for sure.
Yeah, he had cloth on the front numbers and the back numbers.
Pass interference. Calgary number 27. Major foul. Roughing the passer. Calgary number 23. Ball will be placed on the 1-yard line. First down, Winnipeg.
So a pair of penalties, the pass interference and a roughing the passer. It's first and goal at the 1. Shannon James also called.
Yeah, the second one doesn't really help Winnipeg because they're on the 1 anyway. You can't get any closer than that. But there's the throw and the hit. That was roughing the passer on James and the pass interference on Brandon Browner.
Ryan Giebert is the fullback. And Graham Bell takes the handoff. Touchdown, Winnipeg. So Graham Bell into the end zone. Speaking of emotional comebacks to the CFL.
Get a little meat in that backfield this time, and Graham Bell gets contact at the line of scrimmage, but keeps his legs driving and takes all 230 pounds of him into the end zone.
So Doug Barry has to like what he sees. Finally, they push it through. And Cerna on to add the extra point. So the Bombers open up a 12-point lead. Begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, and both games available in TSN HD. Joffrey Reynolds back as Cerna kicks it off. But this will be Marcus Howell. Across the 30, and then Ian Logan drills him out at the Calgary bench. Graham Bell with his first CFL rushing touchdown after Robbie Bryant made some spectacular catches on the drive.
That's another amazing comeback story for Graham Bell. Saskatoon incident. Doctor said he would probably never play again. He defied the odds and came back. By the way, that story is still available on our website at TSN.
And it is well worth the look. Kenyon Rambo, another pass in the flat. Willie Amos there to bring him down. There was some concern that Calgary would be looking ahead beyond the winless Bombers to back-to-back games with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. John Hufnagel played that down, but you got to wonder they have not really been able to wheel spinning so far here in Winnipeg.
Well, they are, but they're not out of reach, and it could be a lot worse for John Hufnagel's crew. I talked to him about that before the game. He said to me, he said, listen, the Bombers are a team that are a dog backed in the corner, and they're going to come out fighting. We will see the best Bomber team possible, and they have so far.
2nd and 3. Fake to Reynolds down the sideline, and Rambo has a first down catch as he continues to work on the rookie Willie Amos out of Nebraska.
Rambo this time does that same throw behind that we've seen Derek Armstrong kind of run. There's Rambo on the outside. Now he's just going to go straight down and bump and run on Willie Amos. That's that press coverage. Throw the brakes on. Amos goes by and he hangs it, keeps his feet inbounds at the sideline. That's the first time Calgary has stretched the defense a little bit.
13 for Rambo. And a first down at the Winnipeg 45. Fake to Reynolds, and now they'll stretch it even more. And Rambo's got another. So we've had a couple of interesting wideout matchups against corners. Browner versus Armstrong, and now Rambo against the rookie Willie Amos.
Yeah, and this is an interesting matchup because you see Rambo on the outside again. This time Amos gets back. He plays what's called cushion coverage, turns and is in decent position. But that is so tough to defend because the quarterback can either throw it up over top and let Rambo go get it and burst, or he can throw it behind depending on where Amos lines up.
5th catch for Rambo, a 32-yard grab, and now Calgary threatening. First down at the 13. Burris looking for the corner. And that pass incomplete, intended for Copeland. And step for step was Anthony Malbrough.
You know, Henry Burris went to the sideline at some point and said to Kenyon Rambo, look, you've had too good of a start of the season to not go to you more to get this offense clicking. So they've come right back and tried to isolate Kenyon Rambo with those 386 yards coming in on the rookie and Willie Amos in just his second game. A couple of big plays to get him on the doorstep.
Speaking of big plays, here comes one. 2nd and 10 from the 13. 2 backs in. Burris pumps, flag down. Henry to the end zone for Rambo, incomplete. And another penalty marker on the play as well. Markers in the end zone and in the Calgary backfield.
Well, see, it looked like it was in that holding vicinity, the first one, and the second one obviously in that pass interference area of the field.
Holding, Calgary 58. Pass interference, Winnipeg. Both penalty are offsetting, 2nd down.
So we'll redo it. Antonio Hall, the left tackle, called on the hold, and then the pass interference in the end zone.
Right in front of your picture on Gavin Walls, there's the hold by Antonio Hall, and it was Jason Nugent in the end zone.
So they'll redo it, 2nd and 10. Burris has time. Nick Lewis bounces off first contact, stretched out, touchdown. Got the pylon, got the touchdown.
All kinds of crossing routes for the Calgary Stampeders. They have one coming underneath here, and then they're going to have another layer coming over top of it. The second layer is going to be Nick Lewis. And that gives all kinds of options to Henry Burris. You see the crossing routes. There's Lewis, who finally opens up. He's on that one-on-one with Ike Charlton and just does reach to the cone.
Fans respond as they see the replay, and Doug Barry saw it. Now he's going to challenge. Lewis stretched out, hit the orange marker, which should signify a touchdown, but was the knee down before he made contact with the marker?
Or was he out of bounds before he made contact? Those are the two questions, and that's why Doug Barry would like to take another look at this.
Lewis with a pair of touchdown catches last week in the convincing win over the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Winnipeg is challenging the ruling on the field of a touchdown. We'll review the play.
Lewis playing in his 75th CFL game tonight.
Let's see, he's down there, no question on possession. He has that. His knee has not touched. They look like they almost touched simultaneously. It'll be interesting because
shedded the tackle of Ike Charlton.
Crosses the plane before it touches as well. Keep in mind that the football just has to cross the plane. It doesn't have to touch that cone per se. And
right, it could have broken the plane even there.
About there, and his knee touches just after.
Jason Nugent, the last line of defense for the Bombers. I'm not sure we've got enough evidence to overturn.
And Calgary Stampeders, even if it was overturned, would have the ball on the 1-yard line.
With the first down. But John Hufnagel's offense finally looking like the one that has been tearing things up for the last few weeks.
Yeah, they went right into the sideline there after the first quarter and started talking to Kenyon Rambo about how he could get involved. That's why they're down here, and that's why they have this. Here's another look in a different angle. He dives. See, the ball had crossed the plane before it touched the cone. And right there, it looked like it crosses the plane, and his knee is not touched yet, and he's not out of bounds yet either.
Now that's a touchdown.
I think that would be ruled a touchdown.
The fans wanted a challenge, and shortly after their reaction, Doug Barry tossed the challenge flag.
You take a look at it.
Upon review, the call made on the field is the right call. It is a touchdown.
Lewis saying hello to the fans
yes,
here in
soaking in the love from the Winnipeg stands. So the Stamps have answered back. And now DeAngelis on for the point after. Randy Chevrier snaps. And Brett Ralph is the holder. And this one through 5 plays, 69 yards, and a touchdown for the Stamps, who now trail 12-7. Nick Lewis has his 4th touchdown of the season. Stamps on the scoreboard. And with 8:13 left here in the opening half, the lead now is 5 for the Bombers. DeAngelis sends it downfield. Here's Fred Reed. And he's getting tackled as he crosses the 32. Justin Phillips first down. Let's join Sean Churchill.
Thank you, Chris. With Ryan Donnelly on the sidelines with a bit of an eye problem, Avi Khan returns to his familiar position at center. He will add a boost to an offensive line that, as you have mentioned, is banged up because, well, they are last in the entire league when it comes to yards gained per rush. He'll give them a boost, guys.
Yes, this is unscheduled. They wanted to ease him in, but another problem on that offensive line, and so Avi Khan back in familiar territory. Let's see how Ryan Dinwiddie answers the touchdown drive of Henry Burris. Roberts skips ahead for 6.
You know, a lot of the criticism for this 0-4 start for the Bombers has been their lack of offense. When you look at their comparison from a year ago, not that far off in the passing game, but a drastic difference in the run game. And again, that goes back to offensive line, some play calling, and your running back, of course. Here's the comparison between last year and this. Passing game was very similar.
Roberts got off to a great start last year. He's always run well against Calgary. 2 of his last 3 starts over 150 yards against the Stamps. Flag down. Terrence Edwards, what a catch! And somehow stays on his feet. Spectacular touchdown, but is it coming back? 74 yards, but it won't stand. Holding Winnipeg.
And Terrence Edwards just got the bad news as he looks back and sees the flag.
Number 66, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
Alex Gauthier, the former Stamp, the left tackle, called for the hold. And you won't see a nicer touchdown grab than that.
Let's take a look at Alexander Gauthier at the top of the line, because this takes away a big one. And he gets the right arm and hand around the back of Howard Hodges and is basically covering the name tag. And you've heard many times, offensive linemen have got to keep their hands inside on the shoulder pad plates or the inside numbers of the defensive lineman.
Great bull rush by Hodges, who was inside defensive tackle for the first 3 games, and now Brendan Labatt pops out of his stance. And that offensive line is moving backwards.
Starts to snowball a little bit.
Winnipeg number 57, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
The rookie left guard, the product from Weyburn, Saskatchewan.
Really been holding his own. In fact, doing more than that. Got a chance to play again unscheduled earlier than he thought he would with the injury to Matt Sheridan.
Well, the guard position's interesting here. 3 of the 4 starting guards are rookies, and the other, a vet who's playing in his first start as a Bomber. Dinwiddie takes off, pulls it down, gets a block, and lunges back close to the original line of scrimmage. But it was 2nd and 21, and the Bombers will have to kick it away.
Just a safe play for Ryan Dinwiddie to listen and heed the instructions of his head coach, who said, don't turn the ball over and we will be okay. And that time he again could have forced the ball, and this time he just decides that the punting of the football is not always a bad thing.
And Doug Barry was insisting, learn from practice where to take your risks, and don't make those risks in live game action. Cerna to punt it away. From his 34-yard line, and he has brought down good, solid downfield coverage by the Bombers.
We've been inspired by seafood dishes from coast to coast. From the Atlantic, taste our new lobster and crab bake, or new Hawaiian Isle shrimp with macadamia-topped salmon. Right now at Red Lobster. Come see what's fresh today.
Brennan, you and Dale are going to have to share a room.
Hey, you're good. You don't say that. I still hate you.
Still hate you.
Step Brothers.
Welcome back. Quick hitter, and Cam Hall steamrolls Nick Lewis. Incomplete. Penalty marker down, and Henry Burris indicating it's going against the Bomber defense. Burris throwing his 9th touchdown pass of the season on the last drive.
Offside against Winnipeg.
Offside. Winnipeg. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Like most of the offensive line lined up offside. That flag came out before the snap of the ball. Winnipeg's been pretty good this year in the penalty department. They ranks 2nd coming in. Giving up just 67 yards a game for penalties.
I think a lot of teams have been a little better. Calgary improved in that area. 1st and 5. And Joffrey Reynolds stacked up, driven back. Joe Lobendon in the middle. There's the middle linebacker replacing Barron Simpson, whose streak of 130 consecutive games ends, and Simpson can't even be on the sidelines to help mentor Lobendon tonight. He is undergoing surgery for the torn pec.
Cam Hall will call the defenses, but Lobendon gets a chance.
2nd and a couple. Burris with that option, and he moves ahead for the first down. Jerome Haywood the tackle, but Burris trying to rev up this offense, and here's what happened to Barron Simpson last week in BC.
He was chasing down Clarence Coleman on the sideline and was a little frustrated, went high with a hard tackle, and the right arm came around and he tore his pectoral muscle that's being operated on now. And we hope the best for Barron Simpson in his return. Cam Hall will make the calls and take over that leadership role, so the leaders have become Boise State grads.
First down, Reynolds out of the backfield. The pass knocked down, intended for Rambo, and Willie Amos makes the play.
It's closed there by Willie Amos, because Rambo was the guy who really ignited this Calgary offense on their last drive with a couple of catches. And Willie Amos comes up and responds on this play with a good close. No contact, maybe a little hand on the back, but the officials tonight, as far as pass interference goes, are letting them play. They're letting the first little tug and push go, which is not a bad thing.
Got a lot of great athletes, but I think Willie Amos is the first world jump rope champion to play in the CFL. Whoa. Offside, could be a free play, and Henry throws it away.
Offside everybody. Now, I'm not sure if a Calgary Stampeder O-lineman moved, but most of the blitzing defensive front from Winnipeg was in the neutral zone, and John Huffnagel thinks he saw what I saw.
So they'll move it ahead 5.
This offside.
Winnipeg number 2, 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
This offside is drawn by the cadence of Henry Burris. Henry Burris gets up in there and he changes his cadence up, and that costs him the offside there.
Doug Brown had an interesting article this week. He said that time of possession in the first half impacts the rest of the game, and based on what he said, the fact that Calgary didn't get much time on offense in the first quarter should be a benefit to Winnipeg as this game goes on. A 2nd and 5 falls incomplete. Do you buy that?
Well, you know, in theory, it is. In theory, if you're on defense in the time of possession, you're on the field for 65, 70 plays a game. By the fourth quarter, you are out of gas. And it's tough to stop anybody. And that's what happened in BC. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers played great for 3 quarters on defense, and then in the fourth quarter, gave up close to 200 yards passing that quarter alone. Yes, they could have run out of gas, but when you look at the entire season and the averages, it's a lot closer the time of possession than you would think.
Burke Dales, a little too much on that one. It ends up sailing into the end zone, and Charles Roberts is going to put down a knee, and it's now 12-8. 58-yard single. Well, Ryan Dinwiddie, just over 3 minutes to go in this first half, and he's got to get more than passing grade so far, doesn't he?
Oh, without question. I think he's shown great composure. Started out, he got a catch over the middle from Terrence Edwards, and that got him some confidence. So he goes to Romby Bryant. His throws have been very accurate, whether it be down the middle or down the field. And he has not been rattled. Not rattled into a mistake. 8 of 12, 146. But it's that interception he's avoided so far tonight.
And it should be mentioned again, 2 missed field goals and a touchdown taken off the board by penalty. Otherwise, it really would be an impressive opening half for the Bombers offense.
And Dinwiddie read the article by Doug Brown and is trying to keep that time of possession stat on the offensive side.
After the single, Bombers start at the 35 out of a double tight end. Dinwiddie steps up and lunges ahead close to 5 for the quarterback. Glenn Sutter mentioned a little more mobility back there. We'll come back for 2nd and 5. Under 3 minutes to go. And a pass for R.J. Franklin caught. And a first down at the 50.
Complementary routes here on the outside. You're going to have R.J. Franklin, the slant route underneath with Terrence Patrick over the top. Watch Patrick come here and then go like there. And then underneath that, you're going to see that route right there where R.J. Franklin comes down and slants. Here goes Terrence Edwards, I should say, up into the corner, and then underneath on the slant from R.J. Franklin. Nice complementary route running.
Franklin just 1 catch in 2 games against BC, but he has a 16-yard first down catch. And now Dinwiddie back to work. Terrence Edwards into the trolley tracks. Wes Lysak makes him pay for another nice grab. Edwards out to give Lysak props for the hit.
And Terrence Edwards will pay full retail. He has no problem with that if it means hanging on to the football and moving the chains. Another courageous catch because he has to expose his ribs. And takes a pretty good hit from Wes Lysak.
No short arm on this play by Edwards, who knew it was coming. Glenn, that's the 14th first down for the Bombers, who had just 10 all of last week in BC. The 40, fake to Roberts, looking for Armstrong against Browner, and more hand-to-hand battling downfield.
And less talking from Armstrong to the official. A little bit, but not as much as we've seen, and I think he's just understands now that they're going to let him play on the outside. They love this matchup. Brandon Browner again up and press. We'll see a lot of this with Armstrong going deep. There's the grab. We'll watch Armstrong with a couple more pushes. And, you know, you get athletes like that on the corner, let them decide the outcome. I love that the officials right now are letting them play. If it gets too much, and we saw the one where Brandon Browner grabbed the bottom jersey, then call it. But right now, let him go. That's a great matchup to watch.
We are told that most teams don't like to throw in Browner's direction. Dinwiddie hasn't been shy about it today. 2nd and 10. Dinwiddie steps up wide open is Edwards. It's a first down inside the 25-yard line. Wrestled down by Brandon Smith, but Terrence Edwards en route to his best game of this season.
A bit of a different formation as the Bombers are trying to move things around. They're right here. They're going to put Terrence Edwards inside the slot position. They also did that on the other side with Armstrong, and Edwards just works his way into the middle, sees that his quarterback's going to move, and he just says, hey, I'll just sit here. He breaks off his route, which was designed to come across the middle, and he just presented the target.
Dinwiddie now over 200 yards, 209 in this first half. Charles Roberts, and he's grabbed and tossed back.
You know, a lot of people talking about whether or not this was a good move, and certainly a half of football doesn't mean that Ryan Dinwiddie is the next Warren Moon. But the bottom line is that it wasn't all Kevin Glenn's fault. It wasn't just Kevin Glenn. But when Doug Barry said that when you change the quarterback, you have sent a message to the entire team. This was the Eastern nominee for outstanding player that has been benched. And Doug Barry has sent a message to the team, and I think they've gotten the message after this half.
Easily their best half of football this season. Dinwiddie on the roll, look out, gets it away. Incomplete on the sidelines. Intended for R.J. Franklin, and boy, Dinwiddie had heat from the backside.
But even that Dinwiddie got this play out shows his mobility, because the backside guy on the rush, here, he is unblocked. He's coming around the corner unblocked. Dinwiddie knows that, so Dinwiddie's got to run away from that pressure. It happens to be Lysak from the safety position. And he's got to roll away from that because he knows he doesn't have a blocker over there, but he has the mobility to do it.
So Cerna to attempt his fourth of the first half. Made from 24, the two misses, and this from 30. And Alexis Cerna now 2 for 4. And the lead is a converted touchdown. Bombers lead at 15-8. So less than a minute to go. We'll be headed back to our control center. Get the view of the panel in this opening half. Randorf along with Chris Schultz, who's whipping the world in his predictions so far this year. Jock Climby with that impressive legal argument that he presented against you in the first half. Matt Dunnigan.
Not fair disclosure there. He brought in extra video evidence I wasn't aware of.
Never trust a lawyer from Queens. Over the middle, Nick Lewis a catch. Cam Hall is there, and Joe Lobanod finishes him off.
But I know Jock Climby in there has been throwing flag after flag with the grabbing that's been going on from defensive back. So interesting debate on these. But again, when I think about that, I always say let them play. If it's even close, let the players decide the outcome of a play.
You just didn't think last week was close.
I didn't think it was close, no.
Second and short. Fake to Reynolds, and now Burris dumps it off and has a first down, Nick Lewis.
And by the way, I didn't think it was close in my little unofficial survey around the league since then. No one else did either.
No.
Except Jock.
Well, here we are at midfield Calgary, 41 seconds left. They have a chance to steal the first half and to go to the locker room tied. Down by 7. Flag down. Underneath, the catch is made. And wrestled to the turf is Jermaine Copeland. Let's see what this marker is all about. 33 seconds left. And it's going against Calgary.
Yeah, go against the Calgary Stampeders. They will get the down over.
Offside. Calgary number 80. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So Copeland jumped early. Calgary came into this game. You see the penalty.
You see him well over the line of scrimmage and past the neutral zone.
Stampeders averaged 7.7 yards on first down coming into the game. Bombers have been stingy today. There's Reynolds out of the backfield, crossing midfield on 1st and 15, down to the Winnipeg 52.
Great hustle. You talked about shaking it up. Doug Barry making the change at quarterback and how that trickles right through the entire lineup. That was tremendous hustle on the backside by Gavin Walls. On the defensive side of the ball, has nothing to do with their offense. But boy, he came from the backside, traveled about 25 yards to make that tackle.
8 on that first down play. 2nd and 7. Copeland open, and he has a first down. Steps out at the 38. 21 seconds on the clock.
Wow.
They get into Sandro DeAngelis field goal range. Let's see how greedy Henry Burris gets.
Looks like he's trying to get him on the line of scrimmage with a bunch type of formation.
Rob Cote checks in. Chris Jackson goes to the bench. 21 seconds left.
Probably time for 3 more plays, Chris, if he's efficient.
Fans trying to disrupt the Calgary offense with some noise out of the double tights. A pump, and now goal. And Rambo's got it. Did he have a foot down? No, it was out of bounds. Incomplete.
Again, great pressure from Gavin Walls, but on the other side, a little pump and go. That matchup that Henry Burris wanted, he wanted to get that one-on-one again on Willie Amos. But first, again, let me show you a little bit more of the great hustle on the outside by Gavin Walls right there. He comes off the edge, and he gets that push on an underneath stunt. That forced a bit of a throw that was a little bit outside from Burris, and there's the throw just outside. Remble left his feet and hit the white stripe.
Play took 7 seconds. 14 on the clock, 2nd and 10. Burris looking to the wide side, and behind the receiver, Chris Jackson, incomplete. And they'll have to settle for a 3-point DeAngelis attempt.
Interesting that Henry Burris on that key play went to the Rambo-Amos matchup, but because of the pressure from Gavin Walls with back-to-back good plays, he didn't throw it as accurate as he would have liked to. And that ball just sails out of bounds, or Calgary probably scores a major, but stands, they'll have to settle for this field goal attempt.
DeAngelis 8 for 11 on the year. This would be his longest from 45 out. Now puts it down. DeAngelis puts it through. And 5 seconds to go. It's a 4-point lead at the half. 2 Cerna misses, or it's an 8-point lead.
Either way, considering the Bombers offensively have really had their best game of the year, or best half of the year, I should say, so far, led by Ryan Dinwiddie, who was, everyone wondering how he would perform. Considering they've dominated, they haven't dominated on the scoreboard, but they've dominated in the time of possession. They've moved the football relatively easily against this Calgary defense. It's a lot closer game than it could be. I mean, even field goals, you think about the field goal misses, but those field goals, if they're converted touchdowns, it's a 3-score game right now.
Ryan Dinwiddie has avoided the mistake that has marked his brief playing time. Charles Roberts to the outside, dragged down, and that might be the only question mark in the Bombers' first half. A great first half offensively without a whole lot from number 1, but a lot from Ryan Dinwiddie. And the Bombers will go to the locker leading 15-11 after 30 minutes at Canada Stadium.
In the first half, Winnipeg has a 4-point lead, 15-11. Chris and Glenn have pointed out a couple of missed field goals by Alexis Cerna, a long touchdown taken off the board by a holding call, but it is a lead. Dave, Jock, Matt, and Chris with you. Jock, prior to the game, was saying what a terrible decision this was to bring in Ryan Dinwiddie. He was the only one, right? Was he the only one?
Yeah.
No, I think we all were.
Throwing me under the bus.
So, no, I'm joking. It was all of us. We were questioning it heavily, and right now he is managing this game.
Yeah, he's manhandling the Stampeders. It's incredible to watch. And Matty, watching this young quarterback, have we seen the same thing here?
Man, the guy's not shy. He is pushing the ball down the football field and somehow getting her done.
It's sometimes getting it done in spite of himself.
That's right.
And we actually have a few highlights showing this sort of
what we're seeing.
Yeah, it's like Jekyll and Hyde from the same guy.
Exactly. Pushing the ball down the field, and we know that he likes to do that, as we've seen. Not sure if he's got the arm strength to do it, but he's getting it done. Now watch this. Great job of looking off the safety. Then he spots his receiver, and then he spots the ball. Beautiful throw by Dinwiddie. This is what he can do. He can simply get, here you go, Jock.
And he makes great plays, and then he turns around and does things like this. Throws into double coverage. Now, it works. But as a receiver running the seam pattern, you never expect to see a football with a guy standing right over top of you, and yet he made the completion. And then here, I mean, looks the defense off and then hits Bryant on the rail, on the sideline, in cut coverage. That was awesome.
And Jock, he comes back, pushes the ball down the field again into double coverage. This one should have been going the other way. He gets a little bit lucky. Then he comes right back with pressure in his face, pushes the ball down the field again. Safety doesn't take good angle, gets it over the top of Bryant once again.
And his balls aren't always pretty. I mean, they get there, but we saw a couple of these. Quack, quack, quack.
Yeah, and I think
that's what they call a duck in football. But you got a first down out of it.
That's right. And I think the Bombers' offense will take that. Yeah. Will take that big time.
It's called production.
The kid Schultz has breathed some life into that offense.
Hey, it surprised me. I didn't think Ryan Dinwiddie had it in him, and it's affected the other aspects of Bomber football, too, especially defensively. Glenn Suter nailed it early in the game that really Calgary played into what Winnipeg wanted them to do by playing protectionist football. Nice little out pattern thrown 1,000 times, but notice the tackle fast and to the ground. Again, a nice little out pattern thrown 1,000 times. There's a tackler, no yards after the catch. Excellent in terms of the Bombers having the ability to get people to the football. And right here, usually this gains yards. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Bombers right there at the point of attack. Good defense by the Bombers early in this game. That kept the game in control for the Bombers, and like everybody else, I'm surprised. Yeah. Ryan Dinwiddie playing really well.
Does anybody, to take nothing away from Winnipeg here, does anybody think Calgary underestimated him?
I think so. I think they come out a little bit flat.
I think they come out flat. I don't think they underestimated them. You'd never underestimate a good football team that's 0-4.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that Winnipeg won't underestimate Calgary's ability to play in the second half. So far this year, they've outscored the opposition 64-30 in the third and fourth quarters. 15-11 is the score. Here are the halftime stats brought to you by Tim Hortons Always Fresh.
Hey, Dave, the Bombers have won every statistical battle, but the one that really impresses me, look at that, 15 first downs as it relates to time of possession. If they can do that in the second half, they're going to win this game.
9 of those first downs came in the first quarter. Let's see what Doug Barry had to say about his quarterback's performance to Sean Churchill.
Coach, Ryan Dinwiddie making just his second start. Are you impressed what he has done in the first half?
Yeah, we have not turned the ball over. That's very impressive.
And what about your defense? They certainly showed a lot of emotion, especially in the first quarter tonight.
Yeah, we had one bad drive, but the rest have been pretty good.
Thank you very much. Good luck in that second half.
That is a focused Doug Barry right there. Wanted to get back to the locker room. He's been great with the interviews, but that one he just wanted to get this over with. 15-11 is the
broadcaster of the CFL and proud home of the 2008 Grey Cup game. We're headed to the third quarter, 15-11 Winnipeg. Sean Churchill standing by with John Hufnagel.
Well, Coach, after a bit of a slow start, did you like what you saw from Henry in that second quarter?
Well, we were able to get down, move the ball a little bit better, got a touchdown, got a field goal, but yeah, we need to get our defense off the field. It wasn't a very good first quarter, too many penalties on both sides of the football. You know, and that turnover we just can't have.
Do you have to contain Ryan Dinwiddie a little more?
Say again.
Do you have to contain Ryan Dinwiddie?
No question. He has too much time. He's doing a great job. We have to find a way to harass him a little bit more in the second half.
Thank you. Good luck in that second half.
Ryan Dinwiddie, the lead story of the first half here in Winnipeg tonight.
Harassing him is the goal and objective, as you heard from Coach John Hufnagel, to get a little more pressure in his face. But Dinwiddie has been moving the pocket, rolling out, showed great composure in the first half, and it has been the best half of offensive football for the Bombers.
DeAngelis to kick things off to start the third quarter. And Fred Reed has to backpedal to his 10. And Reed smacked as he crossed the 25-yard line and drilled back. And the first man downfield to greet him was Fontaine Hunter.
I wonder if anyone on the panel predicted that the numbers would look like this after a half of football between these two quarterbacks. I don't think they did. I don't think many did. And, you know, the goal of Ryan Dinwiddie coming in was to avoid interceptions more than anything. And he has done that so far in a half of football. So has Henry Burrs, but it was a bigger issue for Dinwiddie.
Kevin Glenn has been in Winnipeg 5 years, and in that span, no other Winnipeg quarterback has posted a win. Dinwiddie trying to change that as he hands off to Charles Roberts. And again, Roberts has been contained. Nothing more than 5 or 6 yards at the most on any single carry for a guy who has over 150 yards in 2 of his last 3 starts against Calgary.
The questions will continue for Charles Roberts, who last season 80 touches, 481 yards after 4 games. And the touches down, that's coaching. The yardage way down, the touchdowns way down. That's offensive line and Charles Roberts himself.
9 for 28 tonight, so just over 3 yards a carry. Came into the game averaging just over 4 yards a carry. His longest, 13 this year. Dinwiddie on second down converts, and he has been sharp in that department. Robbie Bryant's been good, and Terrence Edwards has also been a favorite target of Ryan Dinwiddie.
Yeah, and Terrence Edwards is catching some of those over-the-middle danger zone type catches, so you got to admire him for that. There he is right there, and he's going to come right across the middle into that area where you know you're going to get hit. He took a big hit in the first half from Wes Lysak, but I love the confidence from Ryan Dinwiddie. There was pretty good coverage there by Calvin Bannister, and Dinwiddie gunned it into him.
Edwards had 6 100-yard games last year, still looking for his first of 2008. Maybe on his way. Here's Dinwiddie hit as he delivers. Robbie Bryant back to the football, incomplete. Looked like he was out anyway as he was working downfield against the rookie Brandon Smith, who general manager Jim Barker thought was the best rookie in the Calgary lineup.
Has been playing well. A little pressure on Ryan Dinwiddie this time, and he gets it from Marcus Parker. In fairness to the Calgary defense, they've had to make some changes too, and even if Robbie Bryant caught that, his right foot was on the white stripe, wouldn't have counted.
So another 2nd and 10. Dinwiddie delivers, and this time Edwards was running before he caught it. That would have been another big 2nd down conversion.
That's football 101 for receivers, and Edwards knows it more than anybody. And everyone's allowed to have one of these. And Edwards just going to come down in here and curl up, and he is wide open. Dinwiddie buys himself some time by moving around in the pocket. You can see the open zone for Edwards, and he just took a peek at that linebacker and where he wanted to go with the ball. But everyone's allowed one of those.
Al takes it on a hop. Gets the no yards as Logan eases him out after a 35-yard punt. Back in Winnipeg, first possession, second half for the Calgary Stampeders, trailing by 4. Joffrey Reynolds, the lone setback, play action, and Henry's going to air it out. Brett Ralph in behind coverage, and he's got the catch. He'll step out at the Winnipeg 36-yard line.
All the attention to Rambo and the underneath receivers, and Brett Ralph sneaks behind everybody off the play action. Henry Burris lets it fly, and you can see he's in behind Javon Johnson.
"41 yards for Ralph, who has the longest reception of the year for the Stampeders, a 65-yard touchdown. 1st and 10, Reynolds out of the backfield, takes the pass, flag down, Joffrey Reynolds still going, and finally tackled at the 7, but again a penalty marker, and this one's coming back. Just as Burris delivered the football, the marker was tossed, and it looks like a hold.
Holding, Calgary number 67, 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
The rookie right guard,
Sumpas, yeah, he's at right guard, and he's right in there. He gets called in the holding. It was right as Burris was throwing. He's working right there on Jerome Haywood, and you can see the takedown. Haywood gets thrown to the turf, and I'm surprised that Jesse Newman and Dimitri Sumpas haven't been called a little bit more. They've been playing so well in their rookie years, really the foundation of what should be a great offensive line in Calgary for years.
Number 2 and number 3 in the draft. And there's number 6, Brendan Labatt, and all 3 are in the starting lineups in this game.
And Sumpas this is a strong kid. I mean, Dimitri Sumpas is 6'3", 311, and he bench presses. That's 225 tests, and the idea there is to do it as many times as you can. I don't know if you've ever tried to lift 225, Chris, but he's making it look like about 25 the way he's throwing it around like that.
You know I haven't tried to lift 225.
Well, that's a lot of weight, and what the final tally for Sumpas was, but he just takes a break and then he just throws a few more in there, and I don't know, I think he got into the 30s, which is very impressive, and he
showed off now.
This is a combine, and that's, offensive line are strong, but this is beyond strong.
Well, you better be able to do that when you're going against Jerome Haywood, because he is a handful. Anthony Malbrough is shaken off on the play, and he is headed off for at least 3 plays. And they'll have to make an adjustment.
Yeah, I think they move Ian Logan, backup safety, and they'll put him out on the wide side corner. We'll see if Henry Burris decides to try and go after that.
And they move Javon Johnson inside now. Logan has played corner in the past. And safety for the Bombers. 1st and 20 after the penalty. Here comes the rush. Tom Kennedy couldn't get there in time, and Rambo's got a catch.
Let's go.
Rambo marked at the 31, Glenn, so he'll be about 4 or 5 yards short.
Now let's go back and just show you a little bit of the work of the boys up front, the 2 newcomers, and Sumpas, who is right in here this time. It's at right guard, number 67, and he's got his hands full. As you mentioned, it's one of the best front fours in the game. He gets one-on-one there with Jerome Haywood. Good extension. He's got his hands up high and holds off Haywood's pass rush on Burris.
15 for Rambo, 2nd and 5. From the 31, Nick Lewis released, and Lewis ran over Ian Logan and has a first down.
Well, Nick Lewis has become the most physical receiver in the Canadian Football League after 4.5 weeks. He loves to block. Saw Jermaine Franklin do a story on him in the pregame show about how his blocking has been dynamite this year. Some say borderline, but very aggressive, and he was the hammer there, not the nail.
6 catches, 54 yards, and a touchdown. First down, Reynolds trying to get outside. Javon Johnson cuts him down. Well, Lewis had a couple of touchdown catches last week against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Oh, nifty footwork here in the end zone.
Well, you know that Nick Lewis has all the tools in the toolbox when it comes to receivers. He's just got tremendous hands, breakaway speed. Sometimes probably not as focused as some coaches in the past would have liked him, but John Huffnagel's got him ready to play every game.
2nd and 4. Calgary driving. Reynolds under the backfield. Reynolds takes the pass and then able to bring it down. As Javon Johnson, good series for him, disrupts the play.
A couple of times in a row now they've tried to get a play out to the side of Ian Logan to see if they could take advantage of the changeup, moving Javon Johnson in. They hit Nick Lewis. He came up and hit Logan pretty good. That was, again, another play going to that side to Javon Johnson and Ian Logan. Johnson gets there from the halfback spot where he moves inside, which isn't an easy transition, and makes a play, holds him short.
Javon Johnson looks like the best newcomer in this Winnipeg lineup this year. DeAngelis on to make it a 1-point game from 23 yards out. He makes no mistake. 15-14, early 3rd quarter. For every sack in tonight's game, Purolator donates the quarterback's weight in food to a local food bank. Purolator, where business is going. No donations tonight so far. No sacks.
Not yet, but lots of game to be played, and that's not just the sack deal too. It's every time that there's a game, they have also the collections, and apparently that's been huge this year.
Here's Charles Roberts trying to get on track. Wayne Carpenter snuffed that play out. No gain.
It's just, you know, they still have not been able to spring Charles Roberts, and it's something that is going to quickly become more than just sort of discussion. It's going to become a concern. And at what point do you say it's Charles Roberts? I know the panel discussed it before the game in the pregame show about is Charles Roberts hitting that expiry date.
10 carries, 29 yards. Early movement, maybe a free play. Terrence Edwards catches that. Wes Lysak, another hit. But Edwards gets up, and he's got the ball in his hand. And unless Winnipeg drew Calgary offside, it's a first down at midfield. And it is.
By the way, for the record, I don't think Charles Roberts is at his expiry date just yet. But what a catch. You know, when you look at
offside.
what Edwards has
Calgary
done.
number 97. Penalties declined. First down.
All of his catches tonight have been over the middle. This one, again, he has to go up and get. There's Lysak again. They're getting to know each other real well tonight. You've got to give huge props to Terrence Edwards for his toughness tonight. 85 tough yards.
5 catches, 85. Also, one of his receptions was considered a pass, a lateral, and that went for 15. So close to 100 receiving. And there's a catch by R.J. Franklin. Working against Shannon James. Franklin wins that duel and has a first down at the Calgary 31.
Well, it's Franklin's turn to get involved again. Quick read and decision by Ryan Dinwiddie to get him the football. Just showed you Franklin. He's going to come from that middle spot and run the corner route. Little inside from Terrence Edwards. That draws the corner Brandon Browner up tight and allows Franklin some more room in behind.
The first down at the 31. Dinwiddie looking far side. And Franklin couldn't bring that one down.
You know, Ryan Dinwiddie has made quick decisions and the right decisions a lot of time, and he's shown great confidence in a lot of his throws. There have been a lot of times tonight that there's been good coverage, decent coverage on his receiver, especially Terrence Edwards going over the middle. But again, that R.J. Franklin catch, there was good coverage over top on R.J. Franklin, and Dinwiddie had the confidence to just throw it in there to the outside where only Franklin could get it. I love this kid's confidence so far.
Come on.
2nd and 10, and
Timeout.
the Stampeders
Calgary
calling timeout.
You mentioned it earlier, Chris, Boise State. You look up the Boise State media guide and look through the records pages, and Ryan Dinwiddie has got them all. I mean, he threw for close to 10,000 yards in 3 years at Boise State. It's not like the guy was running a veer offense and handing the ball off. And the leadership for this team has gone directly to Boise State because Cam Hall, with the absence of Barron Simpson on the other side, they played together at Boise State. Cam Hall is the leader right now on defense because he's calling the defensive plays. So leadership goes to Boise State tonight, and they're doing a pretty good job so far.
Dinwiddie's favorite receiver in his senior year, a guy by the name of T.J. Acree. So Calgary's got their defense set, 2nd and 10. And open there, another catch for Franklin. And R.J. Franklin powers his way to a first down. And Dinwiddie has this Bomber offense moving the football again. Not as many paper bags in the stands now.
R.J. Franklin is the outside guy in the formation. This time he comes into the middle and sits down on a little bang route where he comes in, spins out, and then goes back out to the outside. And you can see the coverage on top was a little high and wide by Dwight Anderson. It took him a while to close, and Franklin comes up with the first down.
Last week, Edwards and Franklin had 1 catch each. They've combined for 10 in this game. 1st and 10. And Dinwiddie looking for the middle, and a huge hit by Mike Labinjo on Derek Armstrong. There's the Canadian middle linebacker who's been on the end for the first 4 weeks, but back in a familiar position at middle linebacker. Let's listen in.
Armstrong jumped right back up.
Yep. Although he'll probably prefer taking on Brandon Browner after that.
6'5", 284. Just lowered your shoulder. Wow.
So 2nd and 10. Front of the 17. Roberts releases. Dinwiddie steps up. And he takes a jolt and is driven back. Dwayne Carpenter lowered the boom. And the drive will stall.
That, though, Chris, you remember, you mentioned it at the beginning of this show. The Grey Cup game last year, he took off up the middle, and many thought that if he ran, he might have got the first down, but it was the best decision to run, and he threw the pick. It was the real back-breaking pick. This time, he goes up, and he looked like he wanted to try it again, and this time just, hey, he took a hit, put his field goal team on the field. That is the growth of Ryan Dinwiddie over just 2 starts.
That was Charleston Hughes on the tackle. Dinwiddie gets a nice hand as he heads off, getting the ball in field goal range. A 20-yard attempt for Alexis Serna. And Serna's got that one through. And the lead is back to 4. Had their patience tested in the first month of the season. Like what they've seen so far tonight, but as you mentioned, a lot of football left. 21 minutes. Jeffrey Reynolds reverses field, nowhere to go. Jerome Haywood makes another play.
You mentioned earlier that Doug Brown talked about time of possession and how late in games, and as games have gone on, the time of possession has hurt the Bomber defense. They've run out of gas. They look like they have gas as we get through this third quarter. When you go over the 4 games, it's actually closer than you would think. They're almost identical in the amount of plays they average per game, and their time of possession was a difference of 245 over the stretch of the games. Last week, that certainly wasn't the case. They were out there too long, this Bomber defense.
Loss of 3, 2nd and 13, a shotgun problem, and they'll pile up, but who's got the ball underneath? Looks like Calgary's got it. And that's the center, Rob Lazio, who nearly dislocated Glenn Suter's shoulder this morning.
Yeah, I tried to give him a swim move in the lobby, and he karate chopped me, and I was in rehab. But Lazio makes the play to save about 45-50 yards of field position, and either he snapped it too soon or Henry Burris just wasn't ready. But Lazio's falling on that football saved the Stampeders a whole bunch of yardage.
Talked about Dinwiddie protecting the ball. Henry Burris has done a good job of that this year, but not the play John Huffnagel wanted to see. 2 and out. And on 3rd and 17, Burke Dales unloads. Roberts back to return. Changes direction, looking for a hole, but he's brought down by Rob Cote.
So just to wrap up that thought on time of possession for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this year, Doug Brown mentioned how they were out of gas in the 4th, and it has been closer than most have thought throughout the 4 games on average. But this year, this game, certainly no excuse for the defense in this game, because Winnipeg has dominated the time of possession with Ryan Dinwiddie in his 2nd start.
Doug Brown doing some barking to keep everybody alive on that bench after a good defensive series.
Their tanks are full.
Ryan Dinwiddie back to the air, wide open. Terrence Edwards field slicing into Calgary territory at the 49.
Using his mobility this time, Ryan Dinwiddie will use play action and a little bit of movement to get himself outside of trouble and really freeze the Calgary defense. There's the play action. You can see Mike Labinjo has to jump to that play action, take care of Charles Roberts. He can't get pressure on the quarterback, who has lots of time and no duress to throw it out to the outside and find Edwards.
And Terrence Edwards goes over 100 for the first time this year at 102. And he's gone to the bench to get some attention. First down, Dinwiddie. Time over the middle, wide open. Jamie Stoddard has his first catch of the year. Had to come on for Edwards, getting attention at the bench, and 88 gets involved in the offense.
Well, if Edwards comes out, then the replacement, in this case, Jamie Stoddard right there, he has now got to run those danger routes. He's got to be in the same spot, so he's the guy who's got to come across the middle. But you can see those crossing-type routes run by the Winnipeg receivers are giving the secondary for the Stamps all kinds of problems as they try and switch.
First regular season CFL start. Dinwiddie over 300. Hands it off to Roberts. And Roberts down to the 26, close to 5.
Ryan Dinwiddie has gone away from that Armstrong and Brandon Browner matchup. That last play, Browner came up and played press again on Armstrong, who, by the way, Ryan Dinwiddie obviously hasn't heard the legend of Browner yet. He's gone in the first half alone 7 times to Browner, 4 directly to the guy Browner was playing, and it was always Derek Armstrong.
Armstrong without a catch, but a pass interference call. Second down, and the receiver tripped, and that was nearly dangerous. Stoddard lost his footing, and that one could have been picked off.
They'll put in the field goal team again, but let's go back to that little matchup. This is the first half, and it's been a fight. I mean, pushing, grabbing, and the officials have let them play, let them decide the outcome. This one was called. That tug by the left hand set up a touchdown, but it has been some kind of battle. I mentioned the numbers, and that time, again, Armstrong went deep on Browner in that press coverage, but Dinwiddie went the opposite way.
Cerna's been busy tonight. Now surveying a 32-yard attempt to make it a 7-point Winnipeg lead. And after 2 early misses, Cerna back on target. Question? Mike Weir trying to change all that. Henry Burris down by a converted touchdown. Back to work. Back to Rambo. And drilled by Willie Amos.
1954, that was the date. Well, 1 year later was the last time the Winnipeg Blue Bombers went 0-5. And I did a little research on that. And that happened to be the same year that was the premiere of the $64,000 question. And there has been a lot of those questions when it comes to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this year as they try and avoid that 0-5 mark.
Like who should be the starting quarterback? Burris off the left side has the first down at the 46. That question may be answered tonight, at least in the short term.
Well, Doug Barry said when it came to his quarterback that this wasn't a one-game experiment, that no matter what the outcome of this game or no matter how Ryan Dinwiddie played, he was going to let him try and settle in and take the reins and establish himself. Well, after his performance, I'm sure he's sticking with him for some time. But this game is not over. Calgary Stampeders have not played as well as Winnipeg, but are not out of it and could steal one quite easily.
Yes, they've been hanging around, and again down by 7 in the final minute of the third quarter. First and 10. Here comes the rush. Burris gets it away in time and has Brett Ralph for the second time in the second half. Kelly Malvo tags him down.
Ralph was real slow to get up. I think Kelly Malvo got his knees right in the back of Ralph. He has to wait on this ball. It's the long, wide field throw, and it takes a while to get out there. Here comes Malvo. Looked like that left knee hit him right in the back and sort of the rib area. He gets back in that huddle.
Flag down. Too many men in the Calgary huddle. What's the call here?
There is no infraction on the play.
Well, maybe somebody counted up wrong, so they pick up the flag. There was an incredulous look from Burris to the officials, like, what the heck's that for? Second and 3, this should be the final play. Second and 2.5 will call. Take to Reynolds, and Burris in trouble. Throwing it for Ralph, but just throwing it away. Ike Charlton had a grasp of Henry Burris, disrupting the play. And Calgary will have to kick it away to start the fourth quarter. Third quarter stats are brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
The time of possession we've talked about, 10 more minutes for the Bombers, so no excuses for this Bomber defense in this fourth quarter. And you see the 21 points on the board by Ryan Dinwiddie, and you could say that it should be more because of a couple missed field goals, but this team has been averaging 16.5 coming in after 4 weeks, so they're over that already.
First regular season start for Ryan Dinwiddie, over 300 yards. He's passed the test, and now we'll see what Henry Burris can do, because last week BC scored 16 unanswered points in the fourth quarter.
Well, yeah, and if you're a team on the road like the Calgary Stampeders are, all you want to do is really stay close, keep it in striking distance, and then take a good hard run in the fourth quarter. And you know the Stampeders have the talent to be able to do that on offense.
Been a very interesting night of football. 3-1 Calgary against 0-4 Winnipeg. Rick Gale's kicking to Roberts at his 10. Well, Roberts bumped out by John Cornish, who's been terrific on special teams for Calgary all season long.
Well, I sure like what Ryan Dinwiddie has done for 3 quarters. When you compare and take a look at some of the good quarterbacks in this league and their first starts, there are 2 starts I averaged them out and took a look at the yardage. Well, after 1 3/4 of a start for Ryan Dinwiddie, his yardage is already better than Ricky Ray's first 2 on average, Burris's first 2, Kevin Glenn, the guy he replaced. He looks like so far has eliminated that mistake, that interception that he had problems with in the Grey Cup and in his relief role against the Lions 2 weeks ago. But that's pretty darn good numbers when you consider some great quarterbacks' first 2 starts.
First down from deep in their own zone, the long right. R.J. Franklin flags it down. To get away from Dwight Anderson. When you consider tonight, they've had a touchdown drive and 6 other drives into field goal range. 1 was on a fumble recovery, so let's call it 5 drives into field goal range and 1 touchdown drive with Ryan Dinwiddie at the helm.
Yeah, they'd like to obviously turn those drives into majors every time, but I like his decision-making ability. Ryan Dinwiddie has made quick decisions, delivered the ball on time. They always haven't been the tightest spirals or the hardest throws, but he's making good decisions.
Through. And again, we're not seeing Charles Roberts able to bust anything yet.
But they're sticking with him this time, so that sort of takes away that element of the coach's decisions, because we're into the fourth quarter now, and he's still seeing the ball. He was averaging 9 carries a game coming into this one.
Averaging 77 yards a game in his career coming into this season. So far this year, averaging 40 yards a game, and right on that average tonight, 30 through 3 quarters and a bit. 2nd and 8, flag down. Calgary may have jumped. Great catch. Armstrong with the catch as they go back to that side, and it's a first down grab pending the call. And it's Winnipeg offside.
Well, that was a great catch by Armstrong. He had to reach for that coming back into the middle. We've shown you that fight between
Winnipeg,
him.
Number 81, 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Bromby Bryant. That would have been the first catch of the game for Armstrong.
Yeah, that was a nice one coming back. He knew that Brandon Browner was sitting inside there. He had to reach for it. Comes back due to penalty. There's been a couple of those too that if you add first downs for Ryan Dinwiddie. Couple of penalties. He had a touchdown called back in the first half for a holding call.
22 first downs in the game for Winnipeg. Only 10 last week. 4 in the second half. 2nd and 14. Shovel. Roberts with Saboon. And Charles Roberts drops the ball. Calgary's on it at the Winnipeg 40-yard line.
They're calling it Calgary football. Doug Barry wants to hear from above if he was down or not. So there was no hesitation, Chris, from the officials.
It's like Fontaine Hunter may have come up with the ball. Roberts within a yard of the first down, but he puts it on the carpet. Doug Barry saw the replay, has thrown the challenge flag. He believes Charles Roberts had a knee down as the ball came loose. And from our looks, it is close.
Very close. He Looks like he has possession. It might have moved around a bit, but he has possession there. His knee down touches, and then the ball comes out. Now, there has to be enough evidence.
This may be the best angle. Justin Phillips with the tackle.
There's the knee.
Knees down. Where's the ball?
The ball,
and now it
shows up after that. But again, our vision of the ball is blocked. Here's another look from the opposite side at field level. Now, he looks like he kind of loses the handle, then gains it again. He's got it now.
And
the knee is getting close to the ground. Not quite there yet.
And now down.
Now down.
Is that simultaneously coming out?
Now is the ball out of his possession when it hits, and that is that close.
Andre Proulx getting a good look at that. And again, down. Is the ball out? And the ruling on the field was fumble.
Well, that's going to be that's as close of a challenge as I've seen all season long. And Doug Barry had a little more time than normal because we went to commercial. We go to commercial, but the coaches upstairs for the Bombers still get to see the replays that you just saw at home.
I'm going to sit right on the fence on this one because I can't argue either way on how the official will make that call.
This is as close as I've seen all year. I mean, this will be interesting.
And with that in mind, you feel like they're going to go back to the ruling on the field.
If it's that close, they often do. You have to have enough evidence to overturn. See, he regains control there, so he has it there. And the hand down on the turf, by the way, does not constitute down by contact because you can put your hand down or obviously be on your feet and not be down. The elbow does and the knee does. And it looked like the knee and the ball were almost simultaneous, the ball coming out and the knee touching. This is as close as I've seen, and
very close to a first down for Roberts if the play stands for Winnipeg. Well, would be his biggest play of the game, 14 yards, but could be the most costly mistake the Bombers have made tonight. In fact, it would be their first turnover of the game.
See, Charles Roberts is as nervous as he must be right now. He's sure not showing it. He's kind of just, we'll see.
I think we've exceeded 90 seconds under the hood.
Yeah, this is an area that the league is still continuing to monitor and make sure that it speeds up if possible. But this one is very, very close, and I know the officials want to get it right. The 90 seconds, by the way, starts when the official puts his head under the hood, not when he's talking to the coaches and everything else. So here we go, and this is going to be a close one.
Andre, I'm glad you're the referee and not us.
Upon review, the ball carrying knee was down. It will be Winnipeg's ball.
That's a biggie.
Winnipeg football.
That's a biggie. And it was that close, and that is a biggie. Nothing John Hufnagel can do about it now. It was that close that the knee came down. See, he kind of loses the ball there, but gets it back. Then he has possession. The knee had just touched before it popped out. It was almost simultaneous, and they said that knee had touched before the ball came out, and that gives him a chance to gamble here. Not alone to have to punt it away, but they're close enough to be able to go for it.
Now they've reset the chains, and actually it's going to be third down. He came up about a foot short of a first down, 3rd and inches.
But they had to take a look because the chains had been changed to give it Calgary the football, but that's how far they have to go. So this is an area where Winnipeg can actually go ahead and get the first down. That is, to say that's a key play is the understatement of this game tonight.
Well, in a month where nothing's gone right for Winnipeg, a much-needed break.
And I don't think on the challenge you could make an argument either way on that one. It was that close. The official could not have been wrong, in my opinion, on that decision if he decided either way.
So 3rd and inches as the big boys anchored down, and Dinwiddie crosses the 40 and gets a fresh set of downs.
Just keep that one in the back of your mind. An overturned play, and if you were one of those guys that a few years ago hated the idea of instant replay, that's what it's for. It's for to try and get the call correct, and that's a big difference, especially for a struggling 0-4 team. Let's keep in mind what happens the rest of this drive.
Maybe the best evidence of how tough the official's job is, too.
Yeah, without question.
23rd first down of the game for the Ryan Dinwiddie-led Winnipeg offense. And Dinwiddie sets up, looks downfield, and coming back to the ball incomplete. Armstrong and Browner continue their duel.
And Ryan Dinwiddie with still the confidence to keep going after Brandon Browner, who, let's take another look. Right up and press, challenging one of the best receivers in the league. And remember, Browner's just in his 2nd year. A little push, little shove, little push, little throw behind. And neither player talking to the officials anymore. Now they're just saying, okay, this is it. It's me and you, one-on-one. Let's see.
Last week, Browner an interception and a forced fumble. And he's wondering why Ryan Dinwiddie hasn't read the scouting report that you're not supposed to go my way. Get the workout.
He's responded.
11th time on that side tonight. 2nd and 10. Dinwiddie more time. Looking for Edwards. And that's incomplete. Richard Carey. An extra DB on the field. Browner double coverage.
Browner, Chris, went inside again. That time they tried to move Derek Armstrong to the slot back position and actually put Charles Roberts outside him to see if they could maybe get Brandon Browner to stay on Roberts out there. But he didn't. He moved in and played right up against, again, Derek Armstrong. That play didn't obviously go to him, but 8 times so far in this game they've tried to go after Browner.
Cerna with the punt. They want a hopper to Howell. Marcus Howell trying to get outside, finds a seam, but the flag down as he is upended across the 45-yard line. 23 on the return, likely coming back. Seconds gone in quarter number 4. It's a 7-point Winnipeg lead. An illegal block on the return, and the Stamps have to start at their 17. Double tight ends, and Burris looking for Kenyon Rambo again, and Jason Nugent finally will wrestle him down close to the 50-yard line.
That gets a whole lot of that field position back for Henry Burris in one throw. When they go to that tight end set, they get the matchup they want, which is Kenyon Rambo on Willie Amos on the outside. And Rambo has been running the straight go route against him straight down the field. That time he brought him way inside and ran a corner back to the sideline to get open. So when they want that one-on-one matchup, they go tight end formation.
33 for Rambo. Henry Burris at 251 on the night. Now Joffrey Reynolds right side. And Reynolds crashes over the midfield stripe. Cam Hall in the middle of the tackle. It's been a mistake-free game with the exception of that. Is it the first offensive play for Calgary? Rambo's fumble?
Yeah.
Other than that, no turnovers. 5 for Reynolds. 2nd and 5. Nick Lewis from behind Burris in motion. And a completion of Brett Ralph. Another first down catch for Brett Ralph.
Brett Ralph lines up on that short side of the field with Nick Lewis. So it's a timing throw. And when you're 2nd and 5, this is the toughest to defend. There's no way that Anthony Marlborough could play real tight on any of the receivers up there with the threat of that deep ball in the back of his mind.
Stamps have moved it 48 yards. First down at the Winnipeg 45. Pressure out of the backfield. Reynolds has it. Cam Hall jolts him out of bounds. You know, one thing that we've seen Henry Burris do better this year is protect the football. This is through 5 games. 2 years ago, 5 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Last year, 5 interceptions, 4 fumbles. Bad Henry early last year. Much better protecting the ball so far this season and into the 5th game.
And it took Burris those 3 years to understand that and the importance of protecting the ball. Dinwiddie's made a big improvement in just 1 start.
2nd and 2. Another quick hitter to Brett Ralph and another Calgary first down.
They're just relying, George Cortez, the offensive coordinator, and Henry Burris on this tight end formation to get matchup problems for the Winnipeg defense. Either it's a player coming out of the backfield like Joffrey Reynolds, or it's a tight end that's lined up. It's actually a receiver lined up in the tight end spot like Ralph. But it also creates a one-on-one for Kenyon Rambo.
Ralph had touchdowns in each game against Winnipeg last year when the 2 teams split. Henry Burris played in one of those games and tossed 5 touchdowns. There's a pump looking downfield, and that ball sails incomplete. Rambo against Amos, the rookie. Once again, that's been as popular a matchup as Armstrong versus Browner.
They spread him out, then they bring him into tight end. And what it does is it puts Rambo on the short side, and there's Willie Amos. Again, one-on-one. Now, Rambo's trying to use the field and get him to go inside, but you got to give credit to the newcomer in his 2nd start. Rambo's made some plays, but that time in a key situation, Willie Amos was right there.
Huge play here. Haywood to the bench. They'll rush 3, 2nd and 10. And Burris. Nick Lewis, what a catch! Did you see that? Touchdown! An unbelievable touchdown for Nick Lewis. And even entry into the end zone was
dramatic at both ends. Dramatic at both ends for Nick Lewis. It looked like the defender for the Bombers, I thought it was Ike Charlton. He looked like he was going for the football as Nick Lewis kind of juggled it, and he took a bad angle, and there's a dramatic finish.
A high hurdle over Kelly Malvo to the end zone. Nick Lewis, the 30-yard touchdown, and DeAngelis to tie it. 7:25 left. Locked at 21. Does it get better than that? Game story brought to you by MGD. Nothing to hide.
2nd start for Ryan Dinwiddie. The pressure is still on and will be for another 7:25 as the score is tied up, but he's put together a pretty good football game in his 2nd start. Burris is starting to light up a little bit in this 4th quarter, and he's using Kenyon Rambo a bunch, although that last play, Nick Lewis in dramatic fashion for the Calgary Stampeders.
4th straight 300-yard game for Henry Burris, 15 of his last 17. Half a quarter to go. Nothing solved here. Fred Reed up across the 30. 2nd touchdown of the game. 4th in 2 weeks for Nick Lewis. And we've got another candidate for top 10 catches of the season.
Nick Lewis is the inside receiver on the 3-receiver side for Calgary in this formation. When he goes and gets that touchdown, he's right there. And what he's going to do, he's going to get help here and then a bang route coming to the outside. Watch how he tips the ball a little bit. He gets a bang route to help, comes back to the outside, and when he's tipping that ball around, I think Ike Charlton played the football and took a bad angle.
So now it's in Ryan Dinwiddie's court, and he wants to air it out. Terrence Edwards against Bannister, and Edwards pulls it down.
Oh, baby.
They're showing off. The receivers putting on a show here in Winnipeg.
They are all year, aren't they? This is the year of the receiver and the big catch.
41 yards for Terrence Edwards, number 2 last year in CFL receiving.
You can't cover it any better, and Edwards will go up over the top right there of Calvin Bannister to come up with another amazing catch in Canadian football in 2008. And he cramped up and went straight to the bench after that.
We saw that in the last series. Jamie Stoddard came in, made a catch, and he's back in that bunch formation short side. And Roberts stacked up again. Shannon James there, and so is Fontaine Hunter. And Charlie Roberts having no fun.
What a response from Ryan Dinwiddie. I mean, he comes in after the game is tied up, when he has really played a lot better offensively than the Calgary offense, and does not hang his head. He goes deep when his receiver, Terrence Edwards, was well covered by Calvin Bannister. Boy, he has played with confidence tonight.
He has some weapons. Coming into the game, Winnipeg had 3 of the top 11 receivers. 2nd and 9. Dinwiddie stands in again, and that one falls in between a couple of receivers downfield, both Romby Bryant and R.J. Franklin.
He's chucking it. Ryan Dinwiddie doesn't know any better. He's saying, hey, I'm going after it. And good on him for doing it. Again, another deep ball with a well-covered receiver. And he just wanted R.J. Franklin to just widen a little bit. But it puts his team in field goal formation.
Somebody missed an assignment. It falls incomplete, and now Cerna to try and regain the lead from 42 yards out. And Cerna has missed that. It goes through, and it will be a single point, 3rd miss of the night.
Boy, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are not making it easy.
6 squandered points, but they have the lead. 5:07 to go.
Their offense finally gets on track in week 5, and their defense gets that added rest because of their offense being on track and should have gas in their tank right now, and they missed 3 field goals in this game.
But this is when a well-rested defense has to come up with a stop when you're 0-4. 5 minutes left, 4th quarter.
Got that matchup down the bottom again.
Pitch right side. Joffrey Reynolds finds a crease, has a first down. 11 for Reynolds, crashing across the 45.
You mentioned Cam Hall taking control of the defense, making the calls. He is right over here in your screen, and it's his job, him along with Ike Charlton in this formation, to make the play on the run. Slides across, overruns it a little bit, gives Joffrey Reynolds a few more.
Just the 6th carry of the game for Reynolds, 35 yards. The league leading rusher coming in, 1st and 10. Blitzes Trout. This is picked off. Kelly Melville's got it. His first interception of the year. The first thrown by Burroughs tonight. And it's a huge turnover for the home side.
You know, when you have confidence, all of a sudden that trickles down. And I believe that Ryan Dinwiddie's confidence offensively has trickled into this defense. What an aggressive move by Kelly Melville for his first interception, to jump underneath a slant route like this. That is a huge gamble by a defensive back, because a pump fake, and it is goodbye and a touchdown for the Calgary Stampeders, but he aggressively jumps that football. No way in the world Henry Burris thought he would do that.
Bombers take over at the 40. Charles Roberts trying to find a crease. And another 2-yard gain for Roberts. Let's get one more look at the former Stampeder, Kelly Malvo, and his interception.
Those kind of plays for DB, you want to just make the tackle. You want to make a good, strong, open field tackle. There's 27 in the middle of your screen. He reads it immediately and jumps underneath. And I know Henry Burris was thinking, that's not supposed to happen. DBs just make a tackle on a quick slant like that. But this is as confident as I've seen the entire team play all year for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And they look focused, as Kelly Malvo's not playing with the camera now. He knows he's going to have to go out there again.
Still some work to do, but Dinwiddie trying to make the job easier. 2nd and 8. Time for Dinwiddie, and this one almost picked off. Mike Lobinjo had his paws on it, but couldn't reel it in.
And really the first time that Ryan Dinwiddie really telegraphed the throw. He looked right to Armstrong the entire way, who finally got away from the matchup, and that may be why. Because of the defense Calgary was playing, Armstrong did not get the one-on-one on Brandon Browner, so I'm sure Dinwiddie thought, let's take a shot at him if you're the Bombers, and didn't see Mike Lobinjo, who should have had an interception, but for fairness to Lobinjo, he's not a middle linebacker cover guy.
Boy, Cerna's had a workout tonight, and now from 45 again. And this is a clutch one. Redeeming himself there, or now it's a 4-point Bomber lead. 6 left. Bombers now with a 4-point lead. Calgary's got the football. And Henry Burris goes back to work, starting at their 35. Dumps it off. Reynolds out of the backfield. Malvo with a sure tackle on a big fourth quarter for the veteran DB.
Yeah, he's been flying around. He made a couple of plays on similar plays in the very first quarter as Henry Burris goes to the hurry-up, but Malvo stepping it up.
Limits the gain to 3, 2nd and 7. And the fans at Canada Inns know how big this play is for the defense. Showing blitz. Trouton off the edge, but Reynolds has it, and he's got the first down. Big first down, and he ran over Malvo that time. And Malvo a little slow to get up.
Timing was off for the Winnipeg Blitz. They wanted to send everybody. They were trying to come with tons of pressure there, including Ike Charlton. But at the bottom of the line here, you're going to see Charlton time it up poorly. Because of that, Henry Burris has time to wait and dump it off. He sees the pressure coming, and he knows that he has an open man in the back.
Burris in the hurry up. Here comes the blitz again. And that pass incomplete. Intended for Brett Ralph at the sidelines.
Doug Brown got back in the backfield there, and he's the guy who's talked about this for the last couple of weeks, that the defense needed some more rest during the game. And Doug Brown has asked so that the defense could have some gas in the tank when they needed it and a lead. And he got back there that time.
They've held the high-octane Stampeders to 21 points without their emotional leader, their middle linebacker, Baron Simpson. But it's not done yet. And now it's 2nd and 10 Calgary. Burris steps up. Flares it off. Rambo. First down, or close to it. Very close to it at the Winnipeg 53.
Anthony Marlborough was stuck there. This time he's going to see that Kenyon Rambo will sit on the outside guy. Rambo is right here, and what he's going to do is just sit and die out here. Now, when Burris starts to run, Anthony Marlborough is going to get caught. If he stays on that outside zone coverage on Rambo, then Burris runs. If he goes to Burris, he dumps it off to Rambo. He couldn't win there.
Well, Amos looked like he was in no man's land, too. In for quite a finish. First down. Burris pumping, and now underneath. Ryan Thelwell for the first time tonight. Eased out by Javon Johnson.
Henry Burris didn't handle that shotgun snap real well, but he gathered it up and then was able to get that ball outside because Willie Amos just bailed on the play and went deep. But watch the shotgun snap as he takes a peek, he kind of gathers it in, double clutches it, and then he gets his eyes on the coverage and finds a wide open receiver.
Just the 4th catch of the year for Ryan Thelwell, but a big one, 13 yards to the first down at the Winnipeg 40 with 1:49 on the clock. Burris has another target. Copeland has the catch at the 32. And 8 more.
Copeland used a little bit of push off there on Anthony Marlborough to get open. As this clock ticks down, I think it's 3 down time, pretty close for the Calgary Stampeders either way.
Down by 4. So a field goal's not an option.
corner.
Graham Hall trying to track him down, and he's got another first down at the 11. Malvo in the play again. And check that, that was Joe Lobendon along with Malvo, the middle linebacker.
You can see right in the backfield, there's where Joffrey Reynolds leaks out. He's been doing that a couple times in this drive.
And that one little sidestep by Lobendon was enough to give Reynolds room to run. What a drive, 16 for Reynolds, another first down at the 16. Joffrey, left side, trying to power his way, and he'll be driven back. Cam Hall fills the hole. And it's a 4-yard Reynolds pickup.
Lots of time for the Calgary offense. They don't have to deviate too much and try and go twice for the end zone. It's 3-down football. They need a major.
They spot it at the 13, so it's a 3-yard gain, 2nd and 7. Canadians in an uproar. Henry looked one way, now the other for the lead in that corner, and it is ruled a catch, and they're going to mark it at the 1. Brett Ralph with a catch in the corner, 1st and goal. Calgary at the 1 with 52 seconds left.
Lots of time for Burris and tremendous patience, and there is Ralph on the outside. Remember, the football has to cross the plane of the goal line, so even if Ralph has his feet across the goal line, he steps out to come back to the ball, and the ball never does. So his feet are in the end zone, but that doesn't matter. It's if the ball crosses the goal line and that plane. The official rule that it didn't, that puts it on the 1. It possibly costs Winnipeg some time with the ball because Calgary gets it on the 1-yard line with another play.
Intrigued about time management when you're down here. You want to score, obviously. You want to score too quickly. 52 seconds.
You just
the replay
simply
official wants the play to be reviewed. We'll review the play.
They're going to review. Well, Peters, or at least the eye in the sky upstairs, wants to make sure that Brett Ralph wasn't in the end zone.
Inside of 3 minutes, it goes upstairs. The officials have to make that decision as to whether or not it's replayed. But again, Brett Ralph's feet in the end zone is not what the official will look at during this challenge, upstairs officials challenge. He will look at whether or not we have a look at if the ball crosses the plane, because Ralph has to stretch for it coming back to the ball. His feet were in, but was the ball across the plane when he caught it and then went out of bounds? See, he reaches back for it, and you can see his body lean takes him back out of the end zone. But this is an interesting challenge for both teams, Chris, because as you mentioned, if they change this and rule Ralph in the end zone for the touchdown, and if Calgary goes for 1 to tie this game up, that will give the Bombers more time with the ball, and a field goal is all they need to take the lead again. So an interesting challenge for both teams' perspectives. But to get back to your point, you'd almost think that the Calgary Stampeders, if they get the ball in the 1, would almost think about just wasting a play and then scoring after they've run the clock down even further to not give the Bombers another shot. But in this game, which is so close, and that 1 yard at this point on the field and this point in the game so hard to get, there's no way coaches do that. They pound it in there and try and get in the end zone.
You don't want to waste it down, maybe lose a little yardage.
Yeah, no way.
Upon review, the receiver did catch the ball inbound, but the ball never broke the plane of the goal line. Therefore, it will be Calgary's ball on the 1-yard line.
And that's not necessarily bad news for Calgary.
It's not, because they get the extra play. They're on the 1-yard line, so they'll take some time off, but they still have to get that 1 yard.
They can't make a mistake.
No. And you've seen it before, a fumbled snap by the center, a fumble deep in the backfield. You'd think that it'll probably be Henry Burris following his offensive line.
9th play of the drive. Henry Burris has driven them twice in this fourth quarter. They've hit pay dirt once and now trying to do it again. With Cote and Reynolds in behind, Labinjo in motion. And this is a mistake you don't want to make.
Let's see what happens here. That's why you don't mess around. Procedure Calgary.
Now, did the center move the football? Or did somebody flinch? Oh, yeah. Is that enough of a flinch?
Boy, that's a very slight flinch.
Randy Chevrier with a little bob there, and that's the call.
Yep. Well, you know what? It kind of set off a chain reaction. There was that flinch and then two others in the O-line.
Illegal procedure. Calgary number 56. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
And now it really gets interesting.
What is it ever?
And now you would have taken the round touchdown if they'd given it to you.
Becomes almost a throwing down.
52 seconds on the clock. First and goal now from the 6. Rambo in motion. It is a passing down. Pay dirt wide open. Jermaine Copeland for the lead.
Jermaine Copeland for the touchdown in the end zone.
Third touchdown pass of the night for Henry Burris. And the Stampeders have their first lead of the night.
Copeland right here is going to sneak right in behind the coverage. A bust from the Winnipeg defense at the crucial time in the game. Both the safety Jason Nugent and the halfback Kelly Malvo jumped the crossing route. They were supposed to switch it, and Nugent was supposed to take Copeland. He didn't, and he is wide open at the back of the end zone.
A Bomber killer, 8th touchdown in 8 games as a Stampeder against Winnipeg. In fact, it's his 12th game in the CFL against the Bombers and his 12th touchdown. 28-25 with 48 seconds left.
Shut it out. Close it out.
On the goal line, your halfback and safety have to communicate because you're going to get Henry Burris throwing back, and he can't believe his eyes. A wide open Copeland when Nugent and Kelly Malvo did not communicate properly. But Ryan Dinwiddie will have some time. He needs a field goal to tie this game up. So here's Ryan Dinwiddie's pro career. His first start, the Grey Cup Championship. His second start, he's asked to pull the Winnipeg Blue Bombers out of a 4-game losing streak. And now he's got 48 seconds to try and get his football team offensively into field goal position.
He's got a heck of a scriptwriter.
Wow.
21 of 35 for 376 for Dinwiddie. And he'll have to add to those stats in the final minute to pull out a win. Johnson, Fred Reed deep. Good DeAngelis kickoff. Reed from his 11. Reed still going. Across the 35, 36-yard line. 41 seconds remaining for Ryan Dinwiddie, who's been great tonight. And those missed field goals will haunt the Bombers if they don't win it tonight.
Good news for Ryan Dinwiddie is he's got Terrence Edwards back in the lineup and in that huddle. He left the last series with leg cramps. What a night in his second start, but it's not over yet. He's got 41 seconds to get him in field goal range.
Will we get the first overtime game of 2008? Screen, Roberts. Charles Roberts, first down, up at the 48-yard line. Cerna's longest this year, 48. He's got a 45-yarder tonight.
Now we get to see if the young Ryan Dinwiddie can run the hurry-up offense.
13 for Roberts. Time whistled in. Clock runs. 3-man rush. Dinwiddie steps up. Has a man open. Franklin holds on. Bounces off. And what hard running to the 35. They're in field goal range with 20 seconds left.
Field goal range, but it's a long one. It would be a 42-yarder if they don't move any further.
And Franklin takes a knee.
Franklin comes all the way across. Good time by the O-line for Dinwiddie. He finds a hole. Franklin just kind of goes in a deeper layer. Hangs on to the ball. He's got field goal range, and Terrence Edwards goes down to give Doug Barry some time. A couple of thoughts here now for the Winnipeg offense. Do they try and get it into the middle and try and kick a field goal on second down, just in case they botch it, to give themselves a chance on third down if they botch the hole?
Or do they go for the win?
Well, that's another thought. You're at the 35-yard line. You could take one crack at it.
You got 2 or 3 plays. You got 2 plays anyway, don't you? Before the field goal, 20 seconds.
You've got 2 plays, but you better manage that well. You don't want to give away your chance to tie this football game because you've already got field goal range.
You have a timeout. And Edwards makes his way off.
You could think screen.
Oh, that's Franklin. Excuse me, Franklin.
That was Franklin,
who was jolted first by Richard Carey and then finished off by Dwayne Carpenter. Not sure if that was a designated knee or not. But he now is out for 3 plays. Dinwiddie looking for everything for Robbie Bryant. Touchdown, Winnipeg! An extraordinary finish here at Canadiens.
Ryan Dinwiddie goes for it all, and a perfect throw. Forget conservative for this guy.
Time to win a football game.
Clearly the strategy for the Winnipeg offense to take one shot at it and then line up the field goal. But look at the accuracy in the throw.
Against Brandon Browder. There's a new quarterback in Winnipeg.
Oh, baby. How about that?
What a football game. Just another night in the CFL. 450 yards for Ryan Dinwiddie on the night. And Robbie Bryant has a go-ahead touchdown that's 12 seconds away from being a winning touchdown.
The accuracy on the throw, and keep in mind the pressure that Ryan Dinwiddie is under and has been under coming into this game tonight. He has been asked to turn the fortunes of this football team around in his second start in pro football. And rather than get conservative, he goes after it with an absolutely perfect throw. And he deserves to celebrate.
6 for 152 for Bryant. It was set up by a terrific catch by R.J. Franklin. Ryan Dinwiddie used all the weapons tonight. And oh, by the way, they get Milt Stegall back next week.
Well, the talk of the town is going to be number 4. And his confidence from top to bottom, his numbers, his avoidance of the bad interception. There's a new sheriff in town in Winnipeg. His name's Ryan Dinwiddie.
So now they'll skip the kick. No, they'll boot it downfield, put it in the hands of Joffrey Reynolds. There is a penalty marker on the play as Reynolds takes it to the 36-yard line. Well, time now for the TSN turning point. Guess what it is?
Well, it comes right down to the wire because this game has come right down to the wire, and just an absolute pinpoint perfect throw to put it outside corner for Robbie Bryant on the best cover man, one of the best in Canadian football, and they get the go-ahead touchdown in the dying seconds.
The TSN turning point is brought to you by the 2008 GMC Sierra professional grade. Offside on the kickoff, Winnipeg. Calgary declines. They want one shot here. Don't want to waste time with another kickoff. By the way, Ryan Dinwiddie, 450, top passing night of the 2008 season. 2 more than Ricky Ray against the same Calgary defense. One last gasp. Last call for Henry Burris and the Stamps. And Burris in trouble and dropped face mask, and they'll get another play.
They'll get another shot, and they'll get 15 yards tacked on. Doug Brown is going to go down and give this defense a chance to think about this again, but
Tom Canada, I think, got on the grill of Henry Burris.
Yeah, it was a high arm across the face mask. You cannot go to the head of the quarterback. Right there.
Major foul. Face mask. Winnipeg. 15-yard penalty. First down.
So they get the 1 penalty. That will give them at least 1 more play. There is 1 second on the clock, so they get 1 more play anyway.
And it gets the Stampeders within 60 yards, so in Henry Burris's long range anyway.
Now you're likely going to see possibly just 3-man pressure from Winnipeg. Everybody else for the Bombers deep, deep, deep. What the Calgary Stampeders hope for is a penalty. A pass interference call on the play.
And what Bomber fans hope for is that this is not serious for Doug Brown.
Greg Marshall on the sideline, the defensive coordinator for the Bombers, will huddle up his secondary. What he is trying to tell them right now is, do not play for the interception. Knock the ball down. Do not make contact on the intended receiver. The only thing that helps Calgary here is a penalty. That saves them.
Well, this one is not official yet, but the Bombers' schedule now has 3 straight games against the East. They can get right back in the race. Doug Brown's up.
It looks like he'll be okay. A little bit of a limp. Let's take a look at Doug Brown, number 97, on a stunt, comes inside. He gets contact, runs into his own player. Looks like Canada maybe nicked the inside of that knee. That's the bad news for the Bombers. They won't get Doug Brown on his pass rush. His nose is a little